In today's video, I'll be building the world's smallest practical gaming setup to show you that even with a small space, you can still get an amazing gaming experience. Throughout the video, I'll be going over all the parts used for this build, and after assembling it and testing it, I'll even compare it to my $10,000 gaming setup to show you what the performance is actually like. If you're enjoying the type of content that you're seeing, make sure you drop a like and hit that subscribe button as I'm pushing for 100,000 subscribers. And with that being said, let's get into it. I've said this so many times, but the foundation of any setup always starts with the desk. Let's first get into what's important, and that's the beast that's running this entire setup. Now, throughout social media, there's been a lot of controversy around mini PCs. Since they're a small form factor PC, a lot of times the cooling can be not very good, which also affects the performance. But again, I've never actually tested one out myself, so I'm really curious to see how it actually performs. Now, while I could have gone for something such as a handheld gaming PC, the major downsides to that are the battery life and a smaller screen real estate. I also wanted a system that could sustain consistent power and be able to use a mouse and keyboard. And while yes, you could use a mouse and keyboard on something such as the ROG Ally, that's not inherently what it's designed for, as it comes with joysticks and buttons just like a gaming controller. Now, coming in at $700, this is definitely classified as a higher end mini PC. So this felt like the perfect middle ground of balance between not going completely overboard and not being so low that it couldn't even run modern games. Okay, here's the mini PC itself. Wow, this is way lighter than I anticipated. We also have the power supply because they don't fit these in the mini PCs. To briefly go over the specs, it's got an Intel Core Ultra 5, which is primarily used in gaming laptops. It's got 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which is actually impressive considering a lot of these only come with DDR4 RAM. It only has 512 gigabytes of solid state drive storage, which is also on the low end considering the price point. For the graphics card, we're looking at the Intel Arc. Initial impressions, I really like the design. It's pretty clean, minimal. It is built out of some relatively cheap plastic, but I feel like that's to be expected. On the front of the PC, we have the power button, 2 USB ports, a USB-C, and a headphone jack. On the back, we have some ventilation. We also have DC power, what looks like 2 Ethernet cables, a display port, an HDMI port, and 2 USB ports. For the display, I decided to go with a portable monitor. This is Arzopa's 16-inch, 144 Hz, 1080p display. While I could have gone for a monitor, the smallest size I could find was only 20 inches. That's way harder to travel with, and something like this is foldable and easy to store away, just like a laptop. Looks like we have an HDMI cable, a USB Type-C cable, and a USB-C to USB-C. I'm assuming this is the power adapter. This is what the display looks like. Initial impressions, I love the really small, thin bezels. I don't like this big gap, but we're just gonna have to work with that. And on the back, as you can see, there's a built-in like kickstand, which is perfect. So this means we don't have to bring anything extra, and it's built straight into the monitor. Next up on the list is our peripherals, and I wanted to be really selective with what I chose. I'm gonna steal my high ground keyboard just because this is probably one of my favorites. This is their 2D design, and just look at the designs of the keycaps. And plus, it's got their high ground performance switches, so when it comes to gaming, this should give us the best results. For the mouse, this is to be expected. I have to go with the G Pro Superlight. I'm going for an all glass mouse pad, and while this isn't super practical, for performance purposes and testing, this is truly the best. If I was to be on the go, I would definitely get a cloth mouse pad and wrap that up because it's easier to store away. When it comes to audio, I have a pretty tough decision. Do I go with something such as IEMs, which are definitely smaller in form factor and easier to travel with? Or do I go with something that's definitely gonna result in a more immersive experience that's also easy to pack away in a backpack, for example? With that being said, now that we have all the parts laid out, it's time to actually put the setup together. Okay, so I just finished putting together the setup. Just a quick update, as it was downloading, the fans did kick on and go crazy at times, but so far it's been really quiet, and I'm here to push this thing to its limit. So let's see what it can actually do. First, we're gonna start off with all epic settings. I really just wanna see what it can do. A small thing I'm noticing is it's kind of laggy scrolling between things, so I'm hoping that's not the case when it comes to actually playing video games, but we'll definitely have to see. Let's go ahead and load into a solo game and see what the experience is actually like. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Let's see, I'm gonna put my mic here. It's cooking. We're currently loading into a game, so let's see if it keeps that up or if it settles down. Another thing I'd like to point out is how good this portable monitor is. The colors are bright, beautiful, and actually surprisingly accurate. Okay, we might be cooked. The game just froze and crashed. All right, so that's not a good sign. I saw up in the top right corner anywhere from 9 to 10 FPS. So Epic settings definitely does not seem playable at all. Let's reload it back up and see if it can run it on low settings. It's feeling much smoother already, and we're getting 120 frames capped out, which is really good. Diving down, let's see. Right now we're cruising in at around 60 FPS, which isn't bad. But as you can tell, the quality is definitely not the best. It looks extremely pixelated, but regardless, everything feels fairly smooth. Oh shoot, he's right here. Okay. So far, I'm kind of disappointed. For something that's almost $800, I feel like this should be performing a lot better. We're gonna go ahead and try a solo out one more time just to see how it runs. If it starts to stutter and even crash, we're gonna move on to Valorant, which should be a lot easier to run. 70 to 80, 90 FPS. This is definitely playable, that's for sure. Okay, first kill, baby, let's go. Looks like we have another guy. Boom, 2 kills. 2 kills on the PC. Not bad. Yes, those probably were bots. But hey man, normally I'm pretty picky when it comes to playing video games because I notice really small things like input lag, delays, and this is really not that bad. Okay, okay. Oh my, no way we're trash. 2 HP? I'm actually enjoying my experience right now. All right, new game, new me. Okay, what is this? 1v1. No, bro, let me live. I think the fact that I'm continuing to queue games just says that I'm actually enjoying my experience. New game, new me. Let's go. No way, bro. 72, I'm terrible. New game, new me. Dude, oh my god. Boom. Boom, baby. Boom, how do I die? That's gonna wrap up testing Fortnite on the mini PC. Let's try Valorant. Things are looking pretty solid. We're getting a rough mid 250 FPS to upper 360 FPS. Not too bad, I'm impressed. We're on all low settings right now. We're getting about mid 350s to upwards of 400 FPS, not as big of an increase as what I would have expected. I'm now gonna make the switch over to my $10,000 gaming setup just to show you what the comparison would be like. For context, my PC is a NZXT Player 3 Prime pre-built. Some basic specs, it comes with an i9-14900KF, 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and an RTX 4090. So this thing spec'd out to the max. Playing on 1080p, same settings, we're getting roughly upwards of 400 FPS, touching 500 every once in a while. Let's go ahead and bump the graphics down to all low. Okay, so we're getting around mid 400s as well, touching 500 more often than not. Definitely much better. We're currently at 1920 by 1080p. Let's put the frames to unlimited. And we are getting a solid, consistent 300, 400, absolutely no issues. This is a pretty packed creative map, so factor that in. We're now gonna go down to the lowest settings possible just to see what type of frames that we can get. 300, 400 FPS right now. The graphics quality is absolutely cooked. Here are my final thoughts on whether building a setup like this is actually worth it. I love the portability, the small form factor, and the power that they can pack into it. The problem is though, with it being so small, the components are smaller, which means they're not able to be cooled as efficient. So if gaming is something you're really considering, you're competing against a full-blown system where the AIO is bigger than the entire PC. Do let me know, would you ever consider getting a mini PC or building a setup like that? If so, drop a comment down below. With that being said, if you guys did go on to enjoy this video, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next one.